So, as I mentioned before, Jacob Berkeley, the SatAM historian, is working on a book, called The Complete Guide, basically Complete History Guide to Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic SatAM, and everything connected to it. Basically, what inspired from it, what influenced it, what's connected to it, and all that. But he's also working on something to coincide with that, and that is a video documentary. Now, this video documentary is supposed to be released on schedule within the next 4 to 3 months. Basically, what this documentary, as I've mentioned before, I think in a previous video, is it's going to detail Ben Hurst, the late Ben Hurst, the late Ben Hurst plans for the third season that he originally wanted to do, or the film conclusion to the series that he originally wanted to do if he couldn't do a third season. And there's a lot of ideas that came out of what Jacob, the SatAM historian, was able to find out. For example, I'm going to look at it right now. Some things that he had planned were Nicole's backstory. Now, this is according to SatAM historian. He says, and I quote, 18 hours ago, right now it's 3:01 in the afternoon, but this is what he said 18 hours ago, and I quote, Nicole's backstory in Ben's planned SatAM film, third season, would have been dark. She would have been a young child friend of Sally's, whose mind would have been forcefully transferred into a computer by Robotnik. And then they show off some of the storyboards portraying the scene done by Jay Foxfire. Her real name is Jamie, that she did with it, or did for the documentary. And that's the one thing he's also having done with the documentary. He's basically calling upon voluntarily a lot of storyboard artists and VAs to come in and voice the characters, draw up the scenes, as to what Ben originally had planned and storyboard wise, to kind of give us an idea of what he wanted to do. So, for example, another one that he's talking about, another plan that he is talking about is, he says Ben had written a few lines of dialogue for Robotnik in the SatAM film / third season notes. And he basically lists off who's going to be voicing Robotnik lines in the documentary. He goes on to also state, okay, that's already been talked about. Let's see. He says here, well, Ben would say the idea left a bad taste in his mind. It's funny to imagine how this could have happened in the incarnation of the show's third season. And let's see what he's talking about. Oh yeah, I guess a crossover or something, I don't know. Continuing on, he says, Ben Hurst said if he had brought, Ben Hurst said, this is according to SatAM historian, Ben Hurst said that if he was brought onto Sonic Underground first, he would have made it into SatAM Season 3. If they insisted on songs were played over scenes, or Bunny and Antoine formed a band with Tails singing. So, yeah, there were some ideas that Ben wanted to do had he known about, Sonic Underground in the first place and be brought on board at that time. Excuse me. He goes on to state something. SatAM historian also stated that in Ben's notes, this is how Aerobian looks on the inside. Basically showing that even roboticized, Aerobian still has, the organic functions you normally had, that's just robotic. Okay. The other thing that he had planned, the other thing he notes here, oh, I just had it on. The other thing he notes here is in the third season, Dulcie would have matured, coming into her full powers, proving to be a dominant force. He said, basically he states that Ben never pacificated her new powers, aside from his statements that you don't want to see a dragon when she gets mad. Basically, what he's stating here is that not only would Dulcie's powers get more mature, not only would she, basically mature more into her powers, and they would grow along with that maturity. But that basically, you get her angry, you're gonna pay in a big way. Let's see now. Continuing on, trying to get through this here. Trying to pick out some things here. Okay. See here. Oh yeah. He says one idea Ben, along with Lynn and Pat, considered during SatAM's production, but then but never ended up going with due to various reasons, was Sonic or Tails getting roboticized at one point. Yeah. So if you think Mecha Madness and Archie Sonic, along with a future issue way down the line, were the only time Sonic would get would get roboticized, or even in Worlds Collide, if you will, with not Worlds Collide, but Worlds Unite with Sonic Man and all that. Apparently, there were plans for it to happen in SatAM, with that being season 2, which I think would be the most I guess you would say, logical season to do it in, or season 1. There were plans to do it during production, but obviously those were shelved. So anyway, let's see what other ideas they had. Trying to. Okay. This is what he said. This is what he also says about Ben's notes, if you will, when it comes to the roboticization deal with Sonic. As I just checked my time here, it gives you about 14 minutes 4 seconds in 4K to record. But this is what he also said. Complete. SatAM historian said this, and I quote. He says, as Ben put it, we would have built an entire story around that, and there would have been a very good reason to do so. But it's too easy to go that route. I like subtleties. I could do that in a heartbeat, 20 different ways. Sleep, betrayal, special crypt by Robotnik. So, again, there were plans to make it happen. And SatAM historian also posted things like this in response, saying, like I said, the kind of stuff is he's continuing what Ben said. Okay, continue. This is okay. Let me reread this. Bleh. Hold on. He basically says that Ben Hurst basically stated that he would have built an entire story around Sonic's robotization, and that there would have been a very good reason for it to happen, but it would be too easy a route to go down, and that he liked subtleties, and he could do that in a heartbeat. 20 different ways, sleep, betrayal, special could by robot. And then he continues on and says, like I said, that kind of stuff is to come, or like I said, that kind of stuff is easy to come up with. Coming up with a story to support it is the hard part. And if the story doesn't support it, I won't go there. That kind of thing leads to devices taking over the script. Yuck. So yeah, basically again, he and Pat, he and Pat and Lynn, they originally wanted to basically roboticize Sonic or Tails in the story, but I guess they felt it would be too hard to do or something. Let's see here. Continuing on. It says, Ben's Vision documentary will have a special epilogue scene based on an ending by Ben Hurst. His preview of the animatic done by somebody. So it shows a picture of Sally. Again, I'm not going to show you much of anything. But, yeah. Yeah, so he also mentions this. He also talks about this. Again, let me just check my time here. Okay. Plenty of time here. Again, like I said, they give you about, 14 minutes, 4 seconds to record in 4K. But SatAM historian also says this, and I quote, Ben Hurst wanted to introduce a new freedom fighter who would have been a rival for Sally's affections in his SatAM conclusion / third film. Or third season. Okay, let me reread that. He states, and I quote, Ben Hurst wanted to introduce a new freedom fighter who would have been a rival for Sally's affection in his SatAM conclusion film / third season. He didn't give him a design / name, so AR, I'm just going to call him AR, made this moose design for the unknown freedom fighter to to be determined for the upcoming documentary. And continuing on, he says, okay, he just talks about this, you'll need artists for it and all that. So, yeah, basically, there's a lot of ideas apparently that Ben Hurst had, according to SatAM historian. There's a lot of ideas that Ben Hurst had for the third season. You know, from the obvious that we know of, like Knuckles showing up eventually, Tails coming into his own and discovering powers he didn't even know he had. That would occur during a situation. But now we know other things, like, you know, of course we also know about the rival for Sally's affection. We know about that. But now we also know some other things, like, you know, Robotnik obviously having some lines in there. Nicole's backstory, which would have been darker. Dulcie coming into her own, maturity-wise, with the powers and stuff like that. And then, of course, Sonic or Tails being roboticized. Obviously, there was a lot of plans that Ben, along with Pat, Ali, and Lynn Johnson, wanted to make a reality during the show's original run, and some that they probably had planned for that third season, but it never came to see the light of day. Now, we know that with Teen Season, they're working on making all of those ideas that SatAM historian Jacob, brought to, that Ben wanted to do. They're trying to, bring that to life. Bring that to life. Excuse me. As we speak, they're trying to bring that to life as we speak. But yeah, just reading that off, and obviously you guys could check it out at SatAM historian's Twitter page and all that. It definitely looks like this documentary is going to dive into those things and a lot more, and I cannot wait to see it for myself when it comes out within the next 3 to 4 months, if things go as planned. But what are you guys' thoughts? What are your thoughts on some of these ideas that Ben had originally wanted to see become a reality, in the third season / film, and some of the other ideas that they wanted to try to make a reality during the series original run? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. Also check out, like I said, SatAM's historian's Twitter page. And if you want to, you can help them out there. If you're an artist, I'm sure they'll greatly appreciate it. But until next time, guys, I'll talk to y'all later.